A shadow falls over Europe. The skies darken, mirroring the growing tension on the ground. The world watches with bated breath, eyes glued to screens, hearts heavy with anticipation. Every news update, every headline brings a mix of dread and hope. A conflict, once a distant rumble, now echoes with alarming intensity. The sounds of explosions and sirens have become a grim soundtrack to daily life. Military vehicles roll through the streets, a stark reminder of the escalating situation. Russia and Ukraine, two nations intertwined by history, find themselves locked in a bitter struggle. Their shared past, filled with moments of both cooperation and conflict, now seems overshadowed by the present turmoil. Soldiers from both sides stand in tense standoffs, their faces etched with determination and fear. The conflict, a tragedy in its own right, has taken a turn towards an even more perilous path. City streets lie in ruins, a testament to the relentless violence. Refugees, carrying what little they can, flee the conflict zones, their faces marked by the pain of leaving their homes behind. Buildings burn, casting an eerie glow against the night sky. The heart of the matter lies in the deployment of new, more powerful missiles by Russia. These advanced weapons, capable of causing unprecedented destruction, have shifted the balance of power. Military personnel work tirelessly, preparing these missiles for launch, their actions shrouded in secrecy and urgency. These weapons, capable of striking deep within Ukrainian territory, represent a significant escalation. The impact is devastating, leaving craters and smoke in their wake. Each strike sends shockwaves through the region, both literally and figuratively, as the world grapples with the potential consequences. The situation is deeply troubling, a stark reminder of the fragility of peace. Across the globe, people gather in peaceful protests, holding candlelight vigils, praying for an end to the violence. Diplomatic talks continue, a glimmer of hope in an otherwise bleak landscape. The world watches, waits and hopes for a resolution, knowing that the path to peace is fraught with challenges. The Iron Fist tightens, new missiles deployed. Russia's recent actions have sent shockwaves across the globe. The deployment of these advanced missiles, a show of force with potentially devastating consequences, has deepened the crisis. The situation is precarious, a delicate balance on a knife's edge. These new weapons, with their increased range and destructive power, represent a serious threat to Ukraine's security. The situation demands a measured and resolute response from the international community. The stakes are simply too high to ignore. The world reacts, a chorus of concern. The international community has voiced its deep concern over Russia's actions. Leaders from around the world have condemned the deployment of these new missiles, recognizing the danger they pose. The situation is being closely monitored, with diplomatic channels working overtime. The message is clear: Russia's actions are unacceptable and risk plunging the region into further chaos. The world is watching, and the pressure is mounting for a de-escalation of this dangerous situation. A nation bleeding, the humanitarian crisis. While the world focuses on the military aspects of this conflict, we must not forget the human cost. The Ukrainian people are bearing the brunt of this tragedy. Millions have been displaced from their homes, forced to flee the violence. The humanitarian crisis is unfolding on a massive scale. Food, water and medical supplies are in desperate need. The international community must step up its efforts to provide aid and support to those affected by this conflict. The path to peace, a fragile hope. Despite the grim reality on the ground, the hope for peace must not be extinguished. Diplomacy, however challenging, remains the only viable path forward. The international community must work tirelessly to bring both sides to the negotiating table. Dialogue, even in the face of aggression, is crucial. Finding a peaceful resolution will require patience, compromise, and a shared commitment to ending the violence. The alternative is simply unthinkable. The weight of diplomacy, a call for restraint. In these trying times, the importance of diplomacy cannot be overstated. The world watches with bated breath as leaders navigate the treacherous waters of international relations. The situation is incredibly tense. a powder keg waiting to explode. The movement of military forces and the presence of soldiers on high alert underscore the gravity of the situation. Every action, every decision carries immense weight. It is imperative that all parties exercise the utmost restraint. High-ranking officials and international leaders are engaged in intense discussions, seeking a path to de-escalation. The stakes are high and the world is watching closely. Provocations and escalatory actions will only serve to deepen the crisis and make a peaceful resolution more elusive. The voices of protesters echo the sentiments of many, calling for peace and stability. Yet the launch of missiles and other aggressive actions threaten to push the situation beyond the point of no return. The world is calling for calm, for level heads to prevail. At the United Nations and other international forums, leaders are advocating for a measured approach. The collective voice of the global community is one of caution and prudence. Now is the time for diplomacy, for dialogue, for finding a way out of this quagmire. Diplomatic channels are open and peace talks are in progress. The hope is that through dialogue and negotiation, a peaceful resolution can be achieved. The future of Ukraine, and indeed the stability of the region, hangs in the balance. The images of civilians in war-torn cities serve as a stark reminder of what is at stake. The decisions made in the coming days and weeks will shape the future of Ukraine and the broader region. It is a pivotal moment, one that calls for wisdom, restraint, and a commitment to peace. Standing with Ukraine, a shared responsibility. The international community has a moral obligation to stand with Ukraine in its hour of need. This is not just about geopolitical interests. It is about upholding the principles of sovereignty, territorial integrity, and the peaceful resolution of disputes. We must continue to provide Ukraine with the support it needs to defend itself, to protect its people, and to rebuild its shattered infrastructure. This is a shared responsibility, one that demands our unwavering commitment. Preventing a wider war, the need for dialogue. The situation in Ukraine has the potential to escalate into a wider conflict, with devastating consequences for the entire region. Preventing such a catastrophe must be our top priority. This requires open lines of communication and a willingness to engage in constructive dialogue. We must work together to de-escalate tensions, to build trust, and to find a way forward that respects the security concerns of all parties involved. The alternative is simply too horrific to contemplate. A plea for peace, our collective duty. In a world that is increasingly interconnected, the call for peace is not just a distant echo, but a resonant plea that touches every corner of our global community. The situation in Ukraine is a stark reminder of the fragility of peace. The images of war-torn cities and the stories of countless lives disrupted serve as a poignant reminder of the cost of conflict. It is a call to action for all of us to work tirelessly for a world where dialogue triumphs over violence, where the power of words and understanding can bridge divides that seem insurmountable, where diplomacy prevails over aggression and the art of negotiation is valued more than the might of military force, and where peace is not a distant dream but a shared reality. Imagine a world where children from different cultures play together without fear, where global peace marches are a celebration of our unity, and where every urban park is a testament to our collective commitment to harmony. Let us work together to build a future where such conflicts are relegated to the history books, where the lessons of the past guide us towards a more peaceful future, where the drums of war are silenced by the voices of reason and the cries for peace are louder than the calls for conflict, and where peace reigns supreme. Picture a world where serene landscapes are untouched by the ravages of war, where the flight of a white dove symbolizes our collective yearning for tranquility, and where every sunset over a calm ocean is a promise of a peaceful tomorrow. This is our collective duty, our shared responsibility, to ensure that the future we build is one of peace and understanding, and our only hope for a brighter tomorrow. Let us embrace this duty with open hearts and unwavering resolve, for it is through our collective efforts that we can create a world where peace is not just an aspiration, but a reality for all.